Good evening, everybody. All right, nice summer evening here in Pittsburgh. Had the tractor out today, just big time. All right, just before we get started, somebody was asking for clarification on the private training sessions at the lake, of what all was involved with the total price. And again, you don't have to bring food. You don't have to worry about food. We supply all the meals. You don't have to worry about rooms. We have rooms. It's like any other house, though. There'll be the downstairs will share the downstairs bathroom. The upstairs will share the upstairs bathroom. And on top of that, we've got about $3,800 worth of training on the website. Once you take the private sessions at Keuka Lake, you pretty much can ask for any of that information that you want. So all you have to do is afterwards just email Abraham and said, I was at the lake. You'll probably know you were at the lake because you'll probably have talked with him a couple of times beforehand. But we are at the lake, and could I get the 12 major signals package? You can ask for anything you want. It's all there. Plus, you get 1 year free to the website. So for the cost of the session, you can get all that again in free stuff. So I'm trying to smelling something. Discovered we have two skunks out here. One looks like a little baby skunk. It's about 95% black, has one little white spot on it. Then there's another skunk that the back of it is big, fluffy white. It's totally white on the top with black on the bottom. But I was mentioning the other night, one of them apparently leaked because the smell was so right, a little stinker. The smell was so overwhelming that I had to close my screen door here, the sliding glass door in my office. And as I looked out, there was a skunk, and then there was 3 raccoons all eating birdseed within 3 feet of it. I'm thinking, how the heck can they stand the smell? But I guess they could. Okay. I think I've told you all the important stuff now. So we'll get started. As you can see, the markets are continuing to move higher. We are on the top of this trend channel, so there's the prospects of a little bit of profit taking in the Dow. But we have seen that the profit taking in the Dow doesn't have to necessarily correlate with profit taking in the NASDAQ. So this is a good sign when there can be down days in the NASDAQ with up days in the Dow and vice versa. Oh, yeah. Bill, that is a lot of fun, isn't it? When I go out to the barn at night, I have to walk through the pool area, which there's lights out on the barn and there's lights here on the house. So there's not lights in the pool area, but I make sure I grunt and snort and make all sorts of noises, because I certainly don't want to scare or startle one of them. And a couple of nights ago, Sandy and I were coming back from dinner, and we're on kind of a main road, and right next to where all the retail stuff is in this direction, we saw something standing next to the road. It looked like a little spindly thing, and we got up to it, a foot high and a foot and a half long, and it was wobbling around. It was right on the road, so we had to make sure all the cars stopped. Okay. All right, what else do we want to look at? Oh, some of the things that are affecting the markets. Crude oil is trying to base here. As you can see, we've had a good steady uptrend here for the last couple months. When it broke here, it pulled back. And let's just try this. Fibonacci retracement number, and it basically came right back to the 50% retracement. So a lot of people ask, well, do you use the Fibonacci's? And the answer is, don't use the Fibonacci's to make a decision where something might be bottoming out based upon what candlestick signals are occurring in the middle of nowhere. In this case, it looks like it was a 50% retracement level that that held or acted as support. Observe the obvious on soybeans. First of all, you can see where the left-right or the bearish engulfing signal occurred. I'll make this a little bit bigger in a second. But this is the other thing that you want to kind of analyze. Look what's that pretty much is where everything was topping out, which coincided with a bearish engulfing signal right on the 50. So it was probably coming back down to test this level, which broke through there. That pretty much tells us this downtrend could be substantial since it broke any support level. Oh, it's not that we saved it. It was just such a cute little thing. But it was standing practically right out in the middle of the road, so we had to pull up and the other side of it stop the cars coming down the hill. And it was a spindly little thing. As I say, it's about a foot high and a foot and a half long, and it was just wobbling around. The same scenario on live cattle, a bearish engulfing signal. And where did this occur? Well, if you do that trend, got it right there at the top of this channel. So because we can pick out, or we can see graphically where there might be support and resistance levels and a sell signal, it just gives us a that much better visual of where prices are starting to change, or there's been a reversal. We recommended this one. KURA had it open positive and traded positive, which it did. So here's a situation where if you bought it on positive trading, confirming this pattern of bubble breakout, you hang on to it. Even though it backed off today, doesn't necessarily mean this pattern has disappeared. All it means is it's backed off today. You can still be buying it. Hold on. Sorry about that. This is the season when our cat starts bringing in little presents to show what she's caught during the day. So the other one that we recommended, KEYW, was based upon the J-hook pattern. Again, it's not out of the question. It can still be bought on positive trading, confirming the J-hook pattern. Rigid members, probably you want to log off and log right back on. Or Jim's got another solution. On which one? If you bought today on KURA, still use the, well, you wouldn't want to see it come down to the T line. Now you have the prospect of it coming back, hitting the T line, and coming back up again. But you definitely want to see this open positive tomorrow. XNet is a good example of which type of patterns are working in these market conditions. And that's kind of going to be the basis of the June 23rd training, that there are a good number of pattern setups. You've got the 6 or 8 candlestick signals and patterns, or patterns. Then you've got another 6 or 8 combinations, like your best friend, that type of thing. SP, yes, if it opens lower tomorrow, give it a few minutes. If it starts drifting off, close it out, but then be ready to buy it if it hits the T line and starts coming right back up through the area that you sold it out. That means it's just consolidating. Let's go back to that one. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this chart, other than today they just sold it off after a big move. You'd like to see it open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, it's probably coming back down to test the T-line, but more than likely it's coming down, hitting the T-line, and bouncing back up. XNet. No. I would suspect it's heading up for this trajectory. You still have some more upside to this one. But again, this goes back to when you see these type of pattern setups, you want to start going after them immediately in this market condition. Here's another one that we're doing very well. So these are the type of things that we're going to learn. When is it a high probability trade setup? You can see the T-line crunch. You can see that it broke through the resistance level, the 50. You saw it come back and potentially either fail at the 50 with an evening star, except the next day we saw the bullish Harami, which told us the selling had stopped. And notice where the bullish Harami occurred. Right smack dab on this on the 50. When it opened positive, what'd that tell us? that they weren't going back to the 50. Where was the next likely target? At the 200. And then the next thing we start looking at is, once it gets to the 200, notice how they stretch to get there? We should be very cautious of, conscious of what's happening when it got there. Oh boy. That was at 72.87. So at this level, notice what our analysis was. Well, it may have sold off. It hasn't closed below the T-line. So one of two things are going to happen. If they started selling it below the T-line, it told us they failed at the daily resistance level. The fact that they did another little J-hook told us they weren't failing at that level. You stayed long. They're just very simple common sense analysis. Tells you when to get out or when to stay in. There was another one, and I can't remember what it was, so I'll have to come across it. Iowa shop. We're going to go through the ones that we've got or we've recommended here recently. Tile shop, you just stay long. It's been staying above the T line. Probably want to get ready to buy back CRZO. There's your J-hook pattern with a gap up, now a doji sandwich. I would suspect you're in your next wave to the upside. Staying long. Why? Because it's never closed below the T line after your big doji, long-legged doji bullish confirmation. IMMR, J-hook pattern, you just stay long. AMD, kind of the bobble breakout or a breakout, hasn't been able to close below the T-line. Retta, hasn't been able to close below the T-line. So when you have these type of trades in your portfolio, it definitely cuts down on your analysis time each afternoon, which shouldn't be all that long. Would you buy I now? SP, I guess I'll ask you the same question. Why would you buy I now? You're in the overbought area. It's already had a buy signal, and it's moved up about 20%. So is this the best place to have your money? No, it's already moved. Here's where you should have been buying. So this question, I'm not picking on you, SP, but this question is usually asked because everybody sees, oh, it's moving up. How much longer is it going to keep moving up? Instead of saying, what's my risk reward at this point? Well, you're buying a stock that's already in the overbought area. Oh, yeah, it's in wave 3, but if this is wave 1 and this is wave 3, you've already had probably 80% of this move. Go back and find something like this, which there are many of, which we'll get to. And I wouldn't even be afraid to be buying WOW right now, because it's got a good 20% upside potential on this fry pan bottom breakout. VRX, wave 1, wave 2, the gap up going into wave 3. You stay long on this one. And ATSG, another one that when it got to the 200, notice what happened right here. Kind of a bobble breakout. Where was the next target? The 200. What happened when it got to the 200? At some point in here, let's figure this out. If this was our resistance level, the 10-minute chart said, well, it went right through that on the 10-minute chart. There was no resistance there. We didn't have to worry about, didn't have to worry about whether it was going to resist at that level or not. FN, nice quiet J-hook pattern. if you didn't buy it here, you still can buy it right in here. Because if it breaks out through here, what do you got? Wave 1, wave 2, into wave 3. Hold on, let me finish our got a few more of these. IDT has pulled back, but now watch for the consolidation to be over. You can buy this one on positive trading. AVTI broke out through this resistance level with a double doji. You stay long on this one. Square, staying above the T-line. Look for another J-hook pattern setup. NVTA, observe where this is breaking out with the T-line crunch. If this opens positive tomorrow, you've got an extremely high probability it's going to continue moving higher with good velocity. Now, Cato is getting a little bit toppy. You see you had the dark cloud, you haven't seen anything great happening. So if this opens positive, you're all right. If it trades below this level, I mean, it opens lower or even trades higher and starts trading off, it's time to close out the position. It's probably coming back to at least test the T-line. And Fran, you can still be ready to buy this one based upon this big belt hold coming out of a fry pan bottom. Get ready to buy this one, especially if it comes up through this level, the J-hook pattern in progress. John, yes, you stick with it, but you got a very easy process at this point. If it opens lower, it means it's sideways. If it opens higher, look for it to come up through that, doing the J-hook pattern. MRTX, another one, because of this one, until you see a confirmed sell signal, which hasn't occurred yet. MNK, another one that has gotten a little bit toppy, so you probably put your safety stop right here. Shouldn't come back down through that level if we're in an uptrend. And KTSO, another one that if you didn't close it out today, you always use the T-line as your safety stop. If we've got a sell signal and it's heading back in that direction, yes, because you don't want to see a sell signal and then a close back below the T-line. This one should have been closed out today. If it didn't, if it opens lower, you close it out immediately. It needs to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. And WAIR had been acting well, but now it's coming back. It's still above the T-line. And notice what it hasn't done. It hasn't created a sell signal, and it hasn't closed below the T-line. Okay. What does the huge overall S&P Nasdaq Dow profit taking starting exactly 10 minutes before the close mean? Was it just the right time to take profit at our most overbought sessions? Nah, it just meant probably at the end of the day, people were taking some profits. What really matters is what is the overall daily assessment. Well, could be reversing, but we don't have any confirmed reversal on the Dow. The NASDAQ still kind of telling us we're probably in a J-hook type pattern. Does Amazon's situation compare with I? Should I consider Amazon now? Amazon, whoops. You start watching here because this has more of a pattern setup. You can see the J-hook pattern setting up, whereas I, that would just be more that you're still in an uptrend. Let's see if there's anything compelling. if you're buying it, again, you're not buying it at the optimal place here on I. You do have the characteristics of a big fry pan bottom. So if you're buying it, you're still buying a higher risk trade. Amazon, I would suspect you've got things to target for, like this trajectory and a J-hook pattern, meaning this wave right here and this wave right here could get you fairly close to that target. Okay, the biggies. Tesla. Make this bigger. Notice what started the force to the upside. You had a fry pan bottom and then your trend kicker signal. That's telling you there's going to be more upside. Doji, then they gap it up through the resistance. That's an implication there's still going to be more upside on Tesla. Chipotle is in a nice steady uptrend. Now this is a case where I wouldn't be buying it here, but if I was long, I would stay long. Apple hasn't been showing much of anything. So the quick analysis is, which way is this stock going right now? We have no idea, so we shouldn't be trading, especially when it started doing indecisive trading and gap down. That would have had me out of this trade, waiting for something more decisive. NVIDIA, same scenario. This better trade positive tomorrow to stay long. If it opens lower, you can see there's kind of a top right along here. Could be coming back to one of these moving averages. And Netflix did a doji, which helps you out. If it opens positive, you can see the J-hook. If it opens lower, you can see how they're kind of drifting at this point. SP, there's going to be times where if something opens positive, this one would have been a toughie. I would have, if I was trading this one today, I would probably have bought it, and I wouldn't be too concerned about it selling off. This one would have been more, it's still the same thing. It opened positive, you're in a pattern, and it really didn't do anything other than sell off a little bit. So not every trade that you get into is going to take right off in the right direction. But the probabilities of those trades heading in the right direction are pretty strong. And the probabilities also of one that opens positive and backs off coming out of a pattern is still likely to still be heading in the right direction. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We did Netflix. Labu, nothing very exciting here, but BIIB showed us that it wasn't resisting at the 200. Still, and Nugget just has not done anything to speak of. It wouldn't trade any of the gold right now, just because there's no direction in this one. But there are lots of good-looking stocks that have setups. Here's Micron. You can see the J-hook pattern setting up. You saw that it did a doji today, which means if it opens positive tomorrow, you've got a potential doji sandwich of this magnitude that's going to take you right back up here. So if it opens positive, it's telling you this pattern is still working. What do I do if it falls below the open? I sell and immediately put buy stops a few cents above the open. Oh, what I do. Okay, yes, you can always do that. Remember, not every trade that you get into is going to immediately move in the right direction. So there's always, and that can work because maybe you lose 5 cents on a trade or 7 cents, 12 cents on a trade. You come, and when you get back in, you're getting back in not for 3, 5, 10, 12, 15 cents. You're hoping that trade's going to produce $1, $2, $3 to the upside. Micron, you can be buying. Started buying some calls on Web today because you can see the pattern breakout. There's your big fry pan bottom. And where did it break out? Right about where the pattern started and through the 200. I don't know what that is. That's what we're looking for coming out of a fry pan bottom, is that strong price move. We did this one, NVTA. That's got a very high probability trade setup. If it moves positive after a T-line crunch, what do you think everybody and their brother is watching right now? See whether it can get through the 200. If it opens positive, you want to be buying immediately, because when it starts moving up, everybody's going to be deciding, yes, it's got through the 200. I want to be a buyer. ZAG, there's your J-hook pattern in progress. One of the, I think it's a retailer. Land's End, kind of the same scenario, except this is more of a fry pan bottom, getting right to this level. This one you can be buying on a positive open. There's a J-hook pattern. Now notice what started this buying. Kicker type signal, big move. Remember, the bigger the price move, the more compelling there's been a change of investor sentiment. Another one where the probabilities that if it opens positive tomorrow, you're probably going to be trading positive. Kind of the same scenario as Fran. The big move, get ready to buy this one on positive trading. ZAG, yeah, I'd still be a buyer. If this one was a 5-point move, look for it to move into about the $20, $21 range. See if we can see if there's anything out there in the 2350 range, but I would suspect right in here would be your first target. Oh, too little. There's your scoop type pattern. This is only a $2 stock, but Roadrunner, volume was good. You can buy this one on positive trading, expecting a slingshot effect to where maybe your first target is right back up here again. A good percentage upside. BLCM, there's your bobble breakout. Kind of a T-line crunch, bobble breakout. Expect more upside. I was going to put in Boston Scientific, but I guess that's a buyout situation. Zun, there's a J-hook pattern. Notice that they couldn't close below the T-line. We did Web, Legacy. This one you can start buying. More than likely, it's coming back to get into its normal trend, which puts you up around here. That gives you a good 20-25% upside. Fitbit, big breakout. There's your fry pan bottom. There's your breakout. This one is probably already gone, percentage-wise, but just to give you an illustration of why the fry pan bottoms are good setups. That's why this one looks like a very good setup. Fry pan bottom on Web with a gap up through the resistance level. That could have a good strong run to it. Go-Go, you can start buying this one. It had a little left-right combo. Would suspect the first target could be back up to the 50. DGX by DGX. That one's got a good-looking chart in the sense it's got a big fry pan bottom with your best friend. Now a little J-hook. Should have more upside. Good option trade setup. Same scenario, kind of a fry pan bottom with your dimple right here. When it broke out through this level, told you probably heading up into this trajectory. So right now, obviously the fry pan bottoms are working very well. And remember what a fry pan bottom is. It's the buildup of investor sentiment. There's a bobble breakout on Libby. And it broke through. J-hook pattern, breaking out right at an obvious resistance level that acted as resistance before. SOGO, another J-hook pattern in progress, coming out of this big fry pan bottom. TEGP, fry pan bottom breakout. Watch to see if it gets through the 200. Restoration Hardware. There's your scoop type slingshot effect. Just kind of illustrating the patterns that you want to keep an eye out for. Here's another one that's gapped up to the resistance level. So here's the common sense analysis. If they're gapping up toward a resistance level, what do you think they think about that resistance level? They probably don't give a hoot about it. That means there's more than likely going to be a lot more upside. YEX, still in a good uptrend. There's your J-hook pattern, plain as day. All you can do with this one is stay long. Lending Tree, there's your slow fry pan bottom through the 50. Another one that's probably got some more upside. And FANG, there's your scoop type pattern. You want to be buying this one. Just watch to see if it gets through the 200. If it does, look for another strong price move. All right, so we've got a lot of good investor sentiment going on in this market as far as bullish sentiment. So as long as that bullish sentiment doesn't show any major change, the patterns that are breaking out are probably going to be very strong patterns. I'm going to probably recommend Webb tomorrow on any positive trading because this is the type of setup that could produce a good, strong price move or a slingshot effect that takes you up into this range. But again, observe the obvious, the pattern breakout. Let's see. Oh, that's what I was showing on Fitbit, was that slow curve slingshot effect. Okay, that's about all I got tonight. Are there any general questions on Paulette? I would probably start thinking about rolling over. Whoops. They start trading this one positive tomorrow. Wave 1 and Wave 3 are going to be getting pretty close to the same. So I'd probably start taking some profits and roll out of the Junes and maybe do a June 29th weekly. Same scenario over here on iRobot. But the fact that they went through the resistance level, now the thing that you have to start watching for is first target would be filling this gap. But what usually happens when they come through a resistance level? They'll come back and test it. So I might start taking some profits here. Now what happens is when you start taking profits, I'm just going to pick out a figure. Let's say we were in the 65s and they've got big profits and it's starting to get a little bit dicey. You close out the 65s and then maybe you start looking at buying the June 29 weeklies, the 75s. So what you're doing is you're taking a lot of money off the table, putting it in your pocket, and if you're still wanting to play the upside, you're putting less money in, a lower priced or a lower option expense. So all that the answer would be, I'd get ready to take profits, and then just see if they pull back and you roll them into another expiration date. Okay, any on web? Well, I guess since we know this is a fry pan bottom breakout, where are we expecting it to go? Up strong. If they start selling it off so that you can get in at a better price, what does that tell you about the strength of this breakout move? That's not very great. And you waited for the pullback to get into XNet after a big move. What is today? Monday. On Friday. Would have missed out on a big trade. I would rather be buying into strength, knowing that the knowing that the bulls are still in control, versus waiting for that little pullback so I could save a few pennies. The CE, I was just picking out a time frame. Usually, if you think the moves are good, but they're starting to run out of steam, maybe, then instead of going out to the next month, maybe just out a couple of weeks. Oh, C Savage, I don't know. That's something we have to email Abraham. Okay, Jim, let's go ahead and do the double line. If you've already put up your requests prior, do it again. And in 4.6 seconds, do your next double line. There, nice little slow curve. Make sure your volume stays good. Life, another one that's got prospects. If I was going to buy this one, I would wait for it to come back up through today's open. And ACRX, all you can do here is stay long as it stays above the T-line. Chef, nice little scoop type pattern. You get ready to buy this one on strength, confirming the scoop. Nothing on EBX. ENT has to, let's see, it did open right on the T-line. It needs to stay above the T-line. OPGN, stay long. Ever since your bullish engulfing doji sandwich. ATVEI, we did. It's nice, steady uptrend. You stay long on this one. Ever since you kind of broke out through this level with a kind of a double doji breakout. And UUP, those are the US dollar still kind of drifting. and still in a slow drift to the downside. G-Pro, you can stay long on this one. Now, you got to be a little bit careful because you're probably at the top of the trend channel, so just be a little bit more careful. SCRI, nothing. SRCI, that's what you were looking for. Obviously, you're sitting right on the 50. If you're short, you'll watch to see what it does at that level. LLEX, that's not working. Roku is in a big fry pan bottom. You stay long on this one. You're right here at kind of the breakout area. There's a gap to fill up here. You stay long on Roku. DSKE, little scoop type pattern also, right off the 50. That's a good looking chart. High probability trade setup. Where's your next target? Well, if it's bouncing off the 50 after coming through the 50, look for it to go to the 200. There's a gap to fill right in here also. JCPenney. Oh, that one you can be buying. It's breaking out. Just make sure it stays up above the 50. Dine, you can buy this one. Just watch to see what happens at the 50. But you can see how it's based down here. CVNA. Ever since the bullish engulfing, right smack dab off the 50. Stay long, but have your safety stop at today's open. It shouldn't come back down through there. Oops, where did I go here? Apple we did. Apple's just sideways. Wouldn't be long or short. Cliffs. You can see the slow curve. You can buy this one on strength. Just watch what happens at this level. Credit Suisse is a toughie to trade because it's traded overseas. If you like it, you stay long as it stays above the T-line. IQ. Stay long, but you've had a gap up doji. I'd have a safety stop at today's low. It shouldn't come back through that direction. We did AMD. This one you just stay long. GE, I wouldn't be long or short this one. There's just not enough movement to make it worthwhile to trade. Momo, another one that you stay long. I'd probably put a sell stop at the halfway point of this candle. If there's enough strength after today's doji to come down through there, profit taking is started. So the idea to get in as soon as you feel the strength and stop loss once it goes as you expected. Survey information. That's just a fine howdy do. Steve, basically what you're looking at is you want to be buying when it's confirming your buy signals. You close it back out when you hit an area that tells you it's not trading where you want it to be. Here you can see the slow curve. This one hasn't executed, but now it's breaking out. I'd be a buyer of this if it came back up through today's high, which is also through the high of or the close of the other day, telling you're in the next wave. What got this one started? Kind of your bullish flutter kicker to the upside. Pro shares for crude oil, it's trying. It's basing down here on the price of crude oil. It's around 63.30, somewhere in that area. Goog, staying above the T-line. Look at the Morningstar signal. you can still be buying this one if you like it on positive trading with the next target right here at the top of this little channel. Workday, you stay short. If you're short, you put your safety stop just above today's high. Shouldn't come back up through that level. ESV is one of the crude oils that's not working right now. With it opening lower today, I would have closed it out if I was long, because it's not moving in the direction it's supposed to be. Etsy, same scenario. This one closing below the T line tells you there's not any strength there. Get out of the trade. And BITA you can stay long, just don't let it close below the T line. And CMRE, you can see there's kind of a resistance level right here, and you're above the T line. But note what's happening at the T line. First of all, they slammed it down to the 34, closed above the T line. Bounced off the T line, bounced off the T line, bounced off the T line. What's that telling you about the T line? They're not letting it close below the T line. Yes, needs to open positive. If it opens lower, you close it out. It's not going anywhere. A new link, and nothing there. You can see the trajectory kind of rolling over. If you're long, yeah, you shouldn't be long. You should have been out of this one because of it trading below the T line. If you're short, I don't know what the volume, I guess the volume would be good enough. You stay short. Don't let it close above the T line. Jazz, put your safety stop at today's open. Shouldn't come back down through that level. Larry Kudlow had a heart attack. Huh. All right. That's not good. You can see where you are as far as wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Pretty much at an area where you want to be a little bit defensive. EFS, another one that's not very exciting. It has to stay positive tomorrow to stay in it. SRNE, if you're short, you stay short. UCO, we did. It's the crude oil trying to get back up above the T line. And UPS, nothing wildly exciting about this one. If you're long and you like it, there's just nothing exciting about UPS. Caterpillar, kind of the same scenario. Look at your direction. There's really no direction on this one. SVRA, big gap up, then some profit taking. You still have a big gap up kicker signal. If you're long, you don't want to see it trade probably back below today's low. If you're buying, you buy it if it comes back up through today's open. AFSI, nice little J-hook pattern. You stay long on this. I'd probably use the low right here as a stop. Does this one have a buyout? Michaels, all you can do is stay long. Your safety stop right here. You're just climbing into the overbought area. Boeing, stay long. Not very rambunctious, but heading in the right direction. CVRR, you just stay long. It has to open positive. VCell, you can start buying this one. Notice your bullish Arami smack dab off the 50. Your next target is to make sure it gets through this little downtrending resistance level. And CNAT, nothing wildly exciting. If you like it, you can stay long, but it wouldn't be, right now, it wouldn't be on my top list. Schlumberger, also very slow uptrend. Probably at this point, I would rather be buying this one if it has enough strength to get up through today's high. Otherwise, you can see there's really no major direction on this one. VIV, this one I'd be more apt to buy on positive trading. You've got the gap up, and then you've got the prospects of a doji sandwich. Slow curve, fry pan bottom. You can stay long. You just have to make sure this one gets through the 50, kind of that downward trend channel. Pandora, nothing exciting here except you're in a 45-degree type setup. You stay long as it doesn't close below the T line. Milam, stay long. Put your safety stop at today's open. I don't know where these lines keep coming back on. But the fact that you did a message and then moving up from there, you stay long until you see a sell signal. And GDS, another J-hook pattern in the making. You can start buying this one on positive trading. Philip Morris, you can buy this one on positive trading. It's not, it's got to break through this down or this little resistance level. LRCX, stay short. Suspect this trajectory as being the target. Reggie was backing off. It should have been closed out today. Because notice what it did. It hit a high, started back up again, and did another sell signal right as it hit the high. This one you should have closed out. Probably listening to Cramer's show, that's true. UPS may be going on strike. All right. Tiffany's. Well, there you go. Stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T line. And Zynga. Nothing here. If you've stayed long, it has to open positive tomorrow. And Schlumberger, nothing really exciting on this one. If you're staying in it because it's staying above the T line, it needs to see some energy pretty soon. Here's a scoop on GDS. Only 4 candles. Really no scoop here. This is more of a J-hook pattern. Intel's tough to trade because it's an institutional trader. No, you can still go short with the anticipation, but it's coming back down to the 50. Okay, everybody keep on your calendars that we're going to be doing another Saturday training on June 23rd, showing you the different patterns that make for very good high probability trade setups. Because we often get asked if there's so many good looking charts, how do we find the ones that are going to be the best? And it looks like they're and the answer is look at the different patterns, the ones you like, and then pick 2 or 3 that you think you really want to get. Is there a Bible class tomorrow night? No, that should be on the 19th, I think. I'm going to be going to Chicago. I'll be gone on Thursday and Friday of this week. Be at the giving a talk at the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. So if anybody's in that area, always get together for mint juleps. All right, everybody, that's about all I got. We'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. Watch your news stations to see what they decide in the summit. All right, we'll see you then.